This is TVP, textured vegetable protein, and it can be used to replace ground beef in a lot of recipes, but it can be quite tricky to prepare it properly. And if you just hydrate it like many tutorials say, and even the packages it comes in, it's most likely gonna taste like cardboard. This is the reason why many people dislike it. They think this is how it's supposed to taste, and I don't blame them for disliking it. However, I found through trial and error which are the worst ways to prepare it, and which one is the quickest, easiest, and most convenient way to prepare it. Let's start by showing you how not to do it. The first wrong way is to just pour water on it, then drain the water and add it to your meals. This is the worst way to do it. It frustrates me so much seeing all these vegan influencers and dietitians saying to do it this way. You have to really be a strong, ethical vegan to stand this taste and be willing to share it. All you're doing is hydrating it while keeping all of its horrible flavor inside the TVP. And trust me, no flavor from any vegetable or marinade is going to mask the flavor that remains inside with that soy water that was created. The TVP should be like a sponge absorbing flavors, but it's not going to do that if it's already full of water that combined with the original TVP flavor. So the other wrong way to do it, in my opinion, is boiling the TVP or adding hot water. This is unnecessary, and for cold dishes like ceviche or salads, this only shortens the lifespan of the TVP by putting it in the temperature danger zone where food decomposes faster. Many people think that boiling the TVP gets rid of that bad flavor, but it doesn't. Boiling it once is the same thing as just hydrating it with water and then rinsing it. It doesn't make it softer, it doesn't get rid of the bad tastes, and it just wastes energy from your stove. Now, before I continue, I want to be clear. I'm talking about TVP here, defatted soy, the cheap one, the one you find at Asian stores or mercados here in Mexico. Because there exists something called soy curls in Canada and some parts of the US. These really only need to hydrate and they're ready. They don't taste bad. However, these are not as readily available. I've never found them on the internet, and they're probably more expensive. And if you're a vegan who was used to eating a lot of meat before, TVP is something that you want to keep for the rest of your life, and being extremely cheap, it's one of its benefits that outweigh the time that it takes to prepare it. Another wrong way is by hydrating it, draining the water, and then firmly pressing it. This is getting closer to the correct way, but it still misses the mark. You will still get that TVP taste in the background of your meals. Okay, and enough with the wrong ways of doing it. Now let's talk the best way of doing it. The way that I found works best, and even omnivores can't tell it's not ground beef. This method fixes minor mistakes that the other ones have. First, before I even put the TVP in water, I strain the TVP dry. Or sieve it, I don't know the terminology. Yes, with cheap TVP, what you'll find is that it comes with dust that is just TVP that was ground more finely. If you keep this in, when you try to rinse it, it will create drama in your sink piping, and you don't want to call the plumber for this. I've been there. And also, if any of it stays in the mix, it will give a weird grainy texture to your meals. After straining, yes, submerge the TVP in room temperature water for about 10 minutes. So far, it seems the same, but here comes the difference. I found that washing it like rice, meaning discarding the water, submerging it again, then squishing it inside the water so more of that bad flavor comes out, doing it for a second time, then discarding the water again, what you'll see is that each time the water looks less and less yellow. This is key. The TVP flavor is being washed out. And finally, with my hands or with some cheesecloth, I strongly squeeze the remaining water. Yes, this is a forearm workout. You don't want any water on the TVP. This is making sure that 95% of the original taste goes away with the water and that it remains empty of liquid inside, so it can actually function like a sponge. That way it can absorb any flavor you want. This is hydrated, neutral tasting TVP. You can hardly smell anything here. Now, I haven't been successful with giving it chicken flavor, just beef or some other Mexican guisos. So today I'm gonna show you beef. With this, you'll be able to prepare any recipe that uses ground beef, pasta, tacos, you name it. What I'm doing here is recreating the marinade that was used in all the carnes asadas I went as a teenager. Soy sauce, lemon, garlic powder, and lemon pepper. You can put all of this in a bowl and mix them, or just put them directly on the TVP. I used to do quantities, but not anymore. I just wing it to my preference. One mistake I saw a guy doing was watering down the soy sauce. Big mistake. You never want to add very watery marinades to the TVP. It will only bring out any TVP flavor that remains. Don't ask me why, it just does. Trust me, I'm talking from experience here. Make sure to really squeeze in the marinade enough so it gets inside the sponge, and voila! You can let it sit in the fridge so it seals more of the flavors, or you can use it right away. It really is a game changer. And before you add it to any meal, pan fry it for a little bit with oil. Remember, this is defatted soybeans. So to make it feel more like beef, we have to give it back some fat so it's more juicy. This TVP works for any meal that has separate ground beef. But if you wanna see how I also turn lentils into ground beef that actually sticks together and can be turned into burgers or meatballs, click this next video. It's actually incredible. Hope it turned out well. It's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing.